Hello and welcome to another video. Well, really it's my first video, so please don't expect anything. Now, I'm probably going to say a lot of stupid things during this video because, as you can probably tell, I am an ignorant American, right? Land of the free, home of the brave, all that fun jazz. But I am huge on football, although I may or may not call it soccer because again, ignorant American. But today we are going to be doing our match day, no, match week 14 predictions for the Premier League. I know I am late, but bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. We're gonna get things fixed. All right. Starting off, Wolves versus Bournemouth. Now I think this one is an interesting one. Earlier in the season, I probably would have called it in terms of Bournemouth's favor, right? Wolves has had a very rough start to the season, right? But they've started to open up a little bit. You're seeing a lot more of the offense. So I'm predicting 2-1 to Wolves just because I don't know, their offense looks electric and I haven't personally seen enough from Bournemouth. And I've also heard that Semenyo is injured and I think that's a huge hit to take. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Now this one, I think is pretty straightforward. Um, Crystal Palace has had a terrible start to the season, um, and it's all down to one player. Olise was key when he was at Crystal Palace. A lot of the burden has now fallen to Eze, who I love. Right, he looks so good. He's so fun to watch, but I don't think he has enough um, talent. Well, I wouldn't say talent, but I don't think he has enough to carry. And Newcastle, well, they haven't. They're a little bit of a on and off kind of team. One week they'll have an incredible performance, and then the other week it'll be like, what's going on? But I am predicting a 1-0 Newcastle win, um, just because I think they're picking up steam. We've got Isak back, who's what a player. Let's be real. I think he's so underrated. I think he's gonna score that goal. Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich. Now, Nottingham Forest has been fun to watch to the start of the season, right? They've been electric. They are the only team to have beaten Liverpool this season, which was a shock to me. But they're starting to lose a little bit of steam, which was what I was predicting early on. Um, and then Ipswich, they were promoted this season, which is always really rough. All the teams last season that had been promoted are now back in the championship. I think I think Forest, while they've lost a bit of momentum, I think they're gonna come into this game and they're gonna win. Right? Chris Wood has been so good. He's been scoring so many goals, and I think he'll probably grab one this coming up game. I've got him in my FPL. My man's getting me points, but I'm predicting a 2-0. Next game, Brentford Leicester City. Now, I know I just said a lot of those promoted teams tend to do very poorly, but looking at the standings, right, which I know they don't mean everything, Leicester, they're fighting to stay out of that relegation, right? And I haven't seen a ton from them. I just, for some reason, want to believe in this team. And I'm predicting a 2-2. I know Brentford had a really good start, right? But I don't know. I just don't see them. I can't see it being a win. I can see goals being scored, and I'm expecting a 2-2. West Ham versus Arsenal is probably going to be fun, right? I know West Ham has been really poor going into the season, right? Um, I had a lot of hope for West Ham with all the signings they made, with Fulkrug coming in. I thought it was going to do great, but it really hasn't turned out that way. I don't know what's going on, um, but they have really disappointed this season. And then on the other side, we have Arsenal, who has been through a little bit of a rough patch. I wouldn't even say it's been that bad, right? They've had some injuries, of course, which every Prem team is going to go through. That's just how it goes at this point. But I think with Odegaard coming back in, I think he's done incredible things for the team, which is good and bad, right? Because it's great to have that important player, but again, if he gets injured again, Arsenal's going to be in trouble. They also have had some other minor issues, but they look electric right now. They look like they're on fire. So my prediction is a 3-1 to Arsenal. And yeah, Chelsea, Aston Villa. Now, both of these teams have been a little bit surprising to me this season, right? Chelsea has been a flop for a few years, right? They've been mid table. They haven't had any of that spark, but this season they look good, right? Maresca has come in and transformed this team, right? And I think they have a chance to push for top two, top three. I don't see them as title contenders yet. I think they're gonna need a little bit more time, but they look so good right now. And then on the other side, we have Aston Villa. Now, I don't think Aston Villa is a bad team by any means. I think I had a lot of hype for them coming into the season, right? They finally made it to the Champions League. They have a pretty good squad. You have to talk about how good Ollie Watkins is, right? I think he's got so much talent. And then you also look at Rodgers this season has done so well. I hadn't heard too much of him beforehand, but he's doing so well. But I think what's happening to Aston Villa right now is what happened in Newcastle last season, right? And it was kind of what I was expecting because there's so many more games that they have to play. I think they've been doing well, but their form has started to slip a little bit. Looking at the table, Aston Villa, they're they are leaking goals, right? They are not the strongest defensively. Chelsea has been scoring, and they've looked good. So my prediction here is gonna be a 2-1. Now Tottenham Fulham. This one, I think this will be fun to talk about. I'm gonna piss off some Spurs fans here. Tottenham never plays well when they play a smaller, mid-sized team, right? They play up to the level of the high teams, right? Whenever they go to Arsenal, they play incredible. Whenever they play City, as we've seen, they beat them. Whenever they play Liverpool, they play up to that level. When they go to these mid-sized, smaller teams, it's always disappointing, right? And Fulham does look good. They had a fun start to the season. I know that I think they could push potentially for a European spot, right? And they do look like a fun squad. It's been cool to see Raul. It looks like his career's been reignited. I'm also gonna say what's his name, Emil Smith Rowe. Looks like he's completely restarted his career after just been rotting on that Arsenal bench, which is great. I love to see these young players get that starting time, and so just because of how Spurs are, it's going to be 2-1 Fulham. I think Spurs is going to score. I think it's just inevitable. They're scoring so many goals. But I'm expecting a 2-1 to Fulham. United versus Everton. Now, I don't know what to expect with United for the rest of the season. Just because they have the new manager, Ruben Amorim. I expect him to bring in new players coming in January with the transfer window opening again. Probably another striker to fix that, to start scoring goals, right? I think United had a lot of issues, and I think they're on track to being fixed, right? Because of the games I've seen, there's at least a game plan. Under Eric Ten Hag, I couldn't tell what the plan was. I didn't know what they were going for. But with this new manager, you can tell he has ideas, he has a plan. And so I'm expecting them to turn things around. And then Everton is Everton, right? I never expect a lot from them. They're on the lower end. I'm expecting a 1-0, right? I'm not expecting a lot of goals from United yet, but I'm expecting them to turn things around. Last game, Liverpool, Man City. Last season, this would have been an exciting game, right? It would have been a coin toss. You don't know who's going to win. But this season, there's something rotten going on at Man City. I don't know what's going on, right? Against Feyenoord this week in the Champions League, they scored 3 goals. I was expecting them to finish the game, right? I switched off. And then I come back and see that it's 3-3. They're leaking goals that much. I knew Rodri was good, but I wasn't expecting him to have that much of an impact being gone. And I know Ruben Diaz is gone as well. And it's unexpected. On the other side, you have Liverpool. All I can say is that they're incredible this season. They're probably the best in Europe. Right? They're up there with Barcelona, who have been scoring so many goals, right? But Liverpool have been firm in their defense, right? Van Dijk and Konate have been solid in the back, and it's just been insane to watch. It was completely unexpected. Now, personally, I'm hoping for a 1-1. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think it's going to be a 3-1 to Liverpool. Liverpool just looked too good, and Man City is a mess, right? Maybe Pep, but again, you never know what to expect with Pep. Maybe he can turn things around. I don't expect it. I really don't. I think he is having some troubles. I think they need to get some stuff fixed at the transfer window. I think their players are getting a little bit on the older side, right? And they need that center defensive midfielder. I think that's something they're really missing, and it'll probably change up the entire game. But until then, I see them losing more points, which is insane because they will be 11 points behind Liverpool, and to me, that is something that can't be beaten, right? Unless Liverpool falls apart later in the season, which I can't see them happening to that degree. So I think if this happens, Man City's out of the race entirely, and it'll be between Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea, which again, they're still so far apart. I think Liverpool, it's Liverpool's title to lose. Let's be honest. Anyway, that is my Prem predictions. If you have any comments, if you think I'm stupid, again, I'm just an American, right? What do I know? Have any comments? Anything you disagree with? Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what more kind of stuff you want to see on the channel. Again, I'm just trying to figure this whole thing out. Anyway, I will see you in the next video.